Hey folks, welcome to another housecoat chat. And here we are today, folks, and it's just a beautiful day. I may have sound issues. I am live at the moment. I am hoping things will be in good form. I have no way of knowing if it is any good at all. I guess the only way I could do it is if I go and take a look at my iPad and see if I'm on YouTube Live right now. Let's go check that out, folks. Let's go check that out. And here we are. Anyways, it is number 50 today, folks. My 50th so-called housecoat chat episode, or my 50th attempt at being somebody that's a talker, right? But anyways, let's go check things out. Let's go at housecoat chat. Let's see here. There is. Let's take a look at that one. Are we live? Yes, are we live? And it works, folks. I'm going to shut off my iPad. I'm happy to see that. I thought I'd check it. Anyways, we will. Aha. That is cool. I am happy to see that there's sound. It's been a while since I made an episode. Procrastination and life getting in the way, and a few house troubles and a few other things to go on, but life is life. And folks in Canada, aren't you just tired of trying to keep your elbows up? We got a banker in Mark Carney who works and lives on banker's hours, folks. And we keep hearing him say, crisis, crisis, crisis. And what does he do? He goes on vacation, folks. And what did Trump do this week? He dropped two bombshells on Canada. A couple of days before, he puts it out on Copper. Melanie Jolie answers of a few reporters, screws up the thing with Rio Tinto, saying that they were in liquidity, going bankrupt, and that is furthest from the truth. Melanie Jolie is a woman who should have never have risen above the leadership of a garden club or your weekly book club. That is my opinion. She may be a lawyer, but she is dumb as a fox, folks. Yes, dumb as a fox. And Carney, same thing. A whole host of things going on in this world. Country after country after country has been negotiating with the United States on not having any kind of tariffs and BS. And what does Carney do? He goes on vacation. And after the announcement that we had today or earlier yesterday, basically, on a letter from Donald Trump, I think it's today. Anyways, folks, he talked about a whole host of things in that. And what does Carney do in response? He says, we'll see you in 2 weeks after I have a meeting. This is our prime minister, folks, and I truly believe he's a member of the Ivory Tower Club, the EU elites, the Lower Town elites in Canada, everybody that wants to do the global thing, whether it's climate change, the unification of digital ID, the censorship of people online, such as myself. I may be censored because I say things that Carney may not like. Bluntly, and it's stupid, folks. The digital sales tax was scrapped for the contract of the, sorry, not the contract, but in the trade negotiation. They tried to sneak it in, and Donald Trump nuked it. And thankfully he did, folks, because I'll tell you what, if you don't read and go beyond the 15-second clickbait headlines, you will realize that what Canada is trying to do, what the EU is trying to do, is control our speech and what we see online through their so-called things like digital service tax law, the Censorship Online Harms Act law, which has thankfully not been implemented in Canada. Yes, there are countries in Europe that have a digital sales tax. There's Italy and somebody else. But at the end of the day, if you people read, and I'm really encouraging you to read, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist here. What I'm trying to tell you is to read, and I keep saying it. But in Europe, their digital sales tax, just like in Canada, hidden in the language, was to hire people to monitor things. And yes, they all say, oh no, it's not nefarious at all. But have you seen what's going on in UK? Have you seen what's going on in Germany? Arresting decent people because they're frustrated with the system, who have made no effort to try and actually be violent or anything like that, or actually even commit a crime except maybe having a thought. A thought, folks. Like, please stop sending people here. We are full, right? And here we are. They're trying to clamp down on it, but the people coming over here, and I really hate to put it, there's a lot of bad actors. There's plenty of good people that do want to come into our country to live a better life, but there are many upon many who are scamming and abusing the system, folks. And it's true. And here we are arguing about a whole host of things, trying to get a government to do something correct. And what do they want to do? They want to shut us down. And that is a shame, folks. I know I'm going off on a little bit of sidebar here. We will get back to Carney and his vacation ways, his banking hours. And like my dad says, oh, give him a chance. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to give somebody a chance that's been planted into the spot to replace Justin Trudeau. The fact of the matter is, I remember Kyle Kemper in an interview with Justin Trudeau was president saying, my brother may be the Prime Minister of Canada or Captain Canada for the team on the bench, but he says he has somebody else he has to answer to. Excuse me, the only person that Justin Trudeau needs to answer to within the country of this, within our own country, it's us citizens. It is not the guy who runs the UN. It is not the lady who runs the EU. It is not the people running the WEF, which I believe is now the new person replacing Carl Schwab. Is the Nestle CEO who says humans do not have a right to water. Well, I want to stick that guy in the Sahara Desert, and I'm going to tie a 100-pound anchor to him, and I'm going to tell him to walk to the frickin' Atlantic Ocean to get your water, and see how well he likes it, saying that it's not a human right. It may not be exactly a human right, but we need water to live, folks. That is correct. We do. And the only reason I say it's not a human right is because you can't force somebody to get you water. I mean, you can, but you're really not supposed to. If you're abusing people to get you water, that's not a human right. You are a slave owner. And yes, let's get back to Carney and all the things that are going on. Have you truly listened to what he has to say? He is talking about spending less and investing more. That an oxymoron. He is a government. The government only responsibility is to take the taxes from the citizens and actually put it into places that is needed, such as our military, our hospitals and schools, and so on, all the way down the line to civic, basically. And here we are giving out more money to Ukraine today. Yes, Ukraine is getting more of our money. You're going to help fund a permanent headquarters in France for Ukraine. Talk about money laundering, folks. I am sorry, but our dollar, by the time it gets there, I will bet you 98 cents of it is in somebody else's pocket before one person puts the cornerstone down for that new headquarters in France. Yes, a Ukrainian military headquarters in France. Why? Because the old ones in Ukraine are getting blown up. Yes, I know. This is Friday, long hair thing. I should have my hair out. I know I'm rambling here a bit, but it's been a while since I've made a show, and I wanted to have Fridays as a rant day. It is Friday, and I think I might go on a rant. Here we are in the great country of Canada, where most of the people are so clueless as to what is going on, and you're getting told by the mainstream media that a group in the Canadian military was going to take over some land in Quebec and make their own nation. Well, I'm sorry, but we have nobody in our military that is capable of doing that, because the ones that could left. And the ones that we have now are fat, overweight, and have earrings and everything else, blue hair, you name it, pronouns, whatever, and they're doing willy-nilly. And guess what else? They only have tampons to use, because everything that we've had military-wise, that was a bullet to an artillery shell, to the artillery pieces and our tanks are in Ukraine getting obliterated. Yes, folks, obliterated. And I'm going to go on this rant, and I'm going to keep talking and all that wonderful stuff. Holy smokes. We are the most European of non-European countries, Carney says. He says Muslim values are Canadian values. And then the RCMP the other day says if you have traditional values, you're an extremist. Holy smokes. What kind of country is this? There is nobody truly running it. There's just a bunch of subcommittees doing willy-nilly and what they want. And Carney is a clueless banker. Truly. I mean, he has never negotiated anything, if you honestly think about it. he, as a banker, just looks over forms of paperwork and signs off on it. He never actually sat down and negotiated a squat. Seriously, think about that. He is a banker. Realtors negotiate. People who build things negotiate. People that do trade negotiate. A banker just says, do you want a loan or a savings account? Right? That is just the gist of being a banker. And he's been doing it for so long, and his ego is so far up there, it is absolutely mind-numbing. Remember, this is the guy that was advisor to Justin Trudeau. Goes back to what I said about Kyle Kemper. What did he say? There's somebody above Justin Trudeau telling him what to do. Who do you think that might have been? Wow, think about that. Euroasia is a group that Gerald Butts, former chief of staff of Justin Trudeau, and Mark Carney's wife works for. They just got a whole bunch of government money. And is it for any good? Well, maybe for them, because they're going to travel and do all the consulting, and then they're going to make some report that's going to be wishy-washy. It's going to leave out facts, such as like things like the climate change. I would love to see the honest truth of climate change, and you will not ever see it because they have skewed the data, omitted stuff, didn't take into account for other things. And yes, even emails say, please do not talk about this because we don't want it to disrupt the narrative that we have going. In other words, they don't want the truth to get into the way of their white lie. That is all it is. It's money grabbing, everything else. This country, folks, in Canada, with all our resources, and we could go take a look at Norway, and I don't know the exact figure off the top of my head, but they have a net positive GDP per person, which is approximately 30,000 to 40,000 US dollars per person. And I say US dollars because that's the number I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Now, you go take a look at Canada, and negatively, GDP per person in this country is horrendous. But we have oil and gas, we have the minerals, the coal, the potash. Oh, we've got the hydroelectrical dams that we could be selling to the United States for energy. And yet, you know what? In my home province of BC, with the huge setup they have for dams, somehow they're paying Spokane, Washington, for power to come up into BC. Make that make sense. But David Eby hasn't canceled that contract now, has he? And David Eby, there's another thing when I talk about all the people in government doing what they want, is we're buying boats from China using Chinese steel by taking money from the federal government, the provincial government, and there's no oversight into it. And here we are shipping off money to China when we're trying to save this country. Everybody's saying America bad, America bad, America bad. They're tariffing them. We tariffed them first, folks, and they're only trying to right their ship. And I'm going to say this as nice as I can and hopefully easy as to explain to you as possible. Imagine Canada and US. US is sitting on the motorbike. Canada is in the sidecar of the said motorbike. We are attached to the motorbike. Why? Because we are a country that shares a border, and it's a huge border, and that's why I call Canada the sidecar of the USA motorcycle. We are in for a rough ride. They have been generous, polite, and everything else with us, folks. I shit you not, despite what you're hearing out of the Canadian media, that it's all Orange Man bad, everything that's going on. Oh no, they arrested 55 people on ICE. They're Canadian citizens. Those Canadian citizens are criminals and drug dealers. Get it through your skull. They are not innocent people. Just like today when they announced in the United States, oh look, they're raiding farmers that are using illegal immigrants for work. It was a weed farm, folks, a cannabis farm using children as labor. They should get punished. And, come on, do not omit stuff, right? Do not omit it. Just like the fact, and I really don't want to bring it up, but the 17-year-old that did a horrible thing to an 8-year-old, and they're trying to protect the identity of the 17-year-old. I say that person should be off planet, and that person should be in an adult court. That is a horrendous story, which I'm on YouTube right now, and I don't want to be, toned down. I'm new. I want a show here. And yes, I am ranting and rambling and whatnot, but guess what? I'm trying to find my voice. It is Friday. I always wanted to try and do a long hair Professor Friday thing, because I'm the dude in the housecoat, and this is the way it is. All I can tell you right now is that, holy smokes, if we are in such a crisis, why is Carney on vacation, and why is he delaying the response to Trump's announcement that he said that we're going to get dinged 35% tariffs by August 1st. Holy smoly. And yes, other things are going on in the States. Look at this. Wow, holy smokes. They tried to say that there's no more Epstein stuff. Wow, you know what? Just like Canada, I would say it's a bit of a shit show there because Dan Bongino, the FBI director, the who else? Cash Patel, and then there's Pam Bondi, like they should have got together before any of this started because now Dan Bongino, who I really liked as a commentator online, I listened to him plenty over the years, not consistently, but I have listened to him plenty, and I think he is pissed because he was left out of the loop. Remember, folks, they're trying to say when Epstein killed himself, the videos of the cameras were down, and then all of a sudden, miraculously now, after all these years, we have a camera feed. I do have a few questions though. Why would the original photos of the door look different than the door that's on the camera that they claim that was his room? Right? I mean, seriously. Wow. And did you know that William Barr's father, the former Pam Bondi person in that role, you know, the top lawyer in the United States who was Pam Bondi, and it used to be William Barr, his father gave Jeffrey Epstein his first job basically at an all-girl private school. So you see where I'm going with that one? And I'm telling you right now, people, you need to read. Seriously. Like, holy crap. You know, it is a stinky, stinky affair. And don't for the life of you think that Trump was actually involved with Epstein, because I will say a few things here first. Yes, he was on that plane, and yes, he flew, but those planes and flights were from New York to Florida. They never went to Epstein's Island. The flight logs are there. You can actually look at them yourself, folks. I'm not going to put it up on the screen for you. That's your rabbit hole. I'm just a dude in a housecoat telling you to read. I don't want to be one of these guys that plasters images after images and telling you this is the truth when all you need to do is look with your own eyes, trust your own heart and mind, and make up your own brain power on what is the truth, right? I mean, wow. Other things that I could tell you. In the original 2005, whatever it was, when Epstein was arrested the first time for all this stuff, Trump was one of the only ones that actually, who was rich, who was willing to help the district attorney at the time. And I heard this district attorney say he was the only one that offered us any kind of assistance regarding Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein was thrown out of Mar-a-Lago. Why? Because he accosted a girl underage who was also a very prominent person within the Mar-a-Lago culture group, whatever you want to call it. Donald Trump escorted him out personally. And you know, that's why I say you need to read more. Orange Man, I am not a big fan of. I mean, he is boisterous. He is a narcissist. But you know what? When you have a leadership role and when you have made billions upon billions, who cares about the 6 or 10 bankruptcies he's had, considering his lifespan, where at one time he was worth negative 900, I believe, million dollars. Negative 900 million. And look where he is now. I wish I could be in that boat. Do I want the stress of the negative 900? No, but I will take the lifestyle he has now with what they got going on. And I'm serious, people. You need to read more. Mainstream media Canada is not the place to get your information on the U.S. stuff. You're going to be lied to, misled, misdirected, misinformed, and most ultimately, the missing information you need to make a concise, precise thought on what is the topic of the day, right? I mean, holy crap-a-rolly. It is a strange, strange world. And I'm just going to say this because I've talked about it, is the ostrich thing is still ongoing. They got to stay. And this weekend, right now, if you go to Edgewater, BC, if you're near the area, I highly recommend you checking out the ostrich festival that is going on. Too far for me to drive. I wish I could attend. Shout out to all those people, positive vibes on that, because those birds should stay alive. Right? They should stay alive. They're not dying. They weren't dying after, you know, and the PCR test is a bad test and we should not be using it. I know I'm just a dude in a housecoat, but since 2020, even the creator of the PCR test says you can't properly test COVID with his testing machine. you will get too many false positives. And they have not improved that. What they've done was socially conditioned the public into accepting a faulty test as positive. Because remember, folks, where did the flu go when COVID first hit? Almost non-existent. The proof is in the pudding, and to make things even worse, Alberta's weekly death reports, which I have personally looked at, and the population of all the things in Alberta, it should be in decline, but because of immigration galore, they're balancing it out so we don't notice. The only thing you're going to notice is the more new people here that do not speak very good English. I hope they're here to be a better person. I hope they're not trying to shoot up streets and signs and take advantage of our culture and our land and our, I guess, lax laws. You know, I witnessed people online shooting on the vehicle of their Jeep, two shotguns and a AK-47. It had a banana clip. It looked like an AK-47. And if you know anything about hunting or use of a firearm, you cannot shoot off a vehicle. They left their brass and their casings from the shotgun shells and they drove off. It was an idiotic video, a waste of bullets and money, in my opinion, to do what? To shoot things into the air, you know? And there was a Palestinian training camp that I saw a couple of years ago. Very similar thing, but I'll tell you what, one gun had a drum barrel and they were having a blast of a time. These things do not belong in Canada, but because of the RCMP, because of the corruption in our federal government, we are a narco state. That's no other way to put it. We are a narco state that is Banana Republic. And I'm extending over my 20-minute time, but I am just going to keep on going. Why is it a narco state? Well, what happened a few months ago, folks? They had the largest drug bust with guns, ammunition, fentanyl, cocaine, marijuana, the whole host of things, swords, and only one person was charged. One. And it's been quiet ever since. Do you know that the second in command of the Conservative Party has a relative who's involved in a scam drug thing that was in like the early or late 2000s, and that person, I want to say Apple, but I am not quite positive, he should be like almost the right-hand man to Pierre Poilievre. That individual has some shady business of relatives of his that should not be anywhere near him, and that fellow shouldn't be in government either. Just with that connection of having somebody who money laundered, purchasing a house, using government lawyers, folks. I have read this, and you know what? You're not going to see it on the CBC News, right? You're not. Just look at the CBC News. Look at that one reporter trying to sue so he can actually resign, and they're saying he can. Why? Well, we'll know more down the road, and he was trying to bring on conservative voices, and the CBC would not let him. Wow, exactly. Anyways, folks, I am almost trying to run out of my breath here. I apologize for the sound if it's awful. My soundboard went down. I checked with my YouTube video, and yes, I am running. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Positive vibes to you all. Remember the scone. It is lit for anybody that you're missing in your life or whatever. You know, it's a thing I do to honor the people that I impacted my life, or the people that are out there that I know that are missing a loved one. That scone is good for you. I got a couple of new lights, if you like them, kind of maple leaf, my dragon. Got a new Conan, you really can't see it, but slowly but surely, I will make things a little better here. I don't have up all my lights at the moment, and I hope my video feed is good, like no pixeling, because that's what happens when I don't have all my lights up. But I wanted to make a show. It's number 50. I'm very happy about that. I hope I do more. Positive vibes, folks. And if you haven't not been to an SPCA, please go at least once in your life. You don't have to adopt, but go check out a fur ball. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed my rant. Hopefully, we'll be getting better and better. Thank you.